Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ass invited, so gonna get to clapping. Go pop it for a plan, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a plan, drop it for me.
Welcome to Lisa's Kitchen.
Hey, we are
another one
with me. Alright, so I cook most of the time when I come home from work. So today I decided to cook with y'all. We are having pork chop fillets, chopped spinach. Always get your vegetables either fresh or frozen. Canned is okay if you're making a casserole or something, but if you're going to eat the vegetable itself, if you're going to cook the vegetable itself, then get a frozen or a fresh one. Frozen is actually sometimes better. And we're going to use these rice packets. Don't be afraid to home cook with prepackaged stuff. It's all about how you do it and what you add to it. Alright, so let's start by, I'm going to heat up my skillet. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use bacon. Anybody know me? Bacon's my favorite thing. It does two things. These are lean pork chops, so they don't have a lot of fat. So they dry out quickly. That is going to give it a little more fat, plus it'll add flavor without adding too much extra salt. We're not going to be eating the bacon. We're just going to be using the bacon fat. Then I'm going to take the bacon and transfer it to the spinach. It's going to have two uses. So let's start there. So let's get our pork chops out. Meat, like any other protein, you don't want to put too much water on it. You don't want to do too much to it. By the time you get it out the store, it's already been sanitized and everything. So a quick rinse off will get that package feel off of it, and that's pretty much all you need to do with packaged things like pork chops and things like that. So just quickly get them out the pack, rinse them off. Now, I'm a country girl, so most of the time I had gas, so this electric kind of throws me. But heat your skillet up for your meat. You want to go on and put that on because everything else cooks relatively quickly. Now, for packets like this, these are not like the old school boxes where you fried the rice and then put it in the water. These you're just going to put in the water. So once I get the meat going, I'll get the water started for that, because I don't like for my rice to be mushy like savory rice pudding. I hate that. Alright, so turn your skillet on so it can start getting hot while I am trying to take these out of plastic. This one, I'm not having a hard, easy time. Alright, so my sink is right here. You can't see. So I'm going to sit those there for a second, because while the skillet is getting hot, I'm going to let this bacon, it's only a couple slices, maybe 3 slices of bacon. It's going to work for these pork chops and for the spinach. You just want to fuse some of that fat and some of that flavor into your food, because we're not cooking super from scratch, but we are making a home cooked dinner, and sometimes that's what you need. Alright, so I'm just using plain Applewood smoked bacon. It's the Walmart brand. All bacon is delicious. Love bacon. So put the bacon in the skillet. I will tell you guys, if you don't have one, everybody needs to go get a cast iron skillet. You can do just about everything in there. It puts a nice sear on food. It puts a nice sear on food. It cooks it evenly. You can put something in there and then just throw it in the oven. So if you don't have a cast iron skillet, guys, go get you one. Alright, let me put that out of my way. What?
Let me point it to the iron.
Oh. Alright, so I got it on about 6 now. I don't know exactly what that is in electric points, but it should be heating up soon. So I'm just going to rinse these pork chops off. I use a classic seasoning on pork chop. Onion powder, garlic powder, seasoning salt, salt and pepper. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need any extra stuff. You don't need any special things. Sorry about that, guys. You don't need any extra stuff. Salt, pepper, a little seasoning salt. I'm not going to bread these. I'm going to fry the bacon off, get the fat, and I'm going to sear them in the fat. I'm not going to bread them. You don't always have to bread your pork chops or things like that. Your lean, boneless meat, you don't always have to bread your meat. Sometimes you can just stick it in a hot skillet, get a good sear on it, and go for what you know. Alright, so I use onion powder. I put a good amount because I don't use the onion salt or garlic salt. I use onion powder and garlic powder. I put a good amount on there because that's flavor. That's all flavor. I use Lowry seasoned pepper. It has a big kick without a lot. It's coarse ground pepper plus other peppers. It gives you a little spice without giving you the cayenne heat. I use smoked paprika. It gives you a smoky flavor. And that paprika flavor, I don't know, it's just something about it on your food is just the bomb. Alright. Good old Lowry seasoning salt. Not a lot of that because we're going to just put some regular salt on there. But it's just something about Lowry's that gives that extra kick to your food. It gives that extra little love. I use kosher salt. It's a bigger flake salt. So you know if you guys can see it. Kosher salt's a little bigger flake salt, and we'll switch dishes up. So, and you use less, but you get a bigger bang. So, a little kosher salt. Now, what you're hearing in the background, that sizzle, that's what you want to hear. You want this bacon to get a good crisp on it, because we're going to transfer some of the grease and the bacon over to the spinach when we do that. So right now, while this bacon is frying, you just frying this bacon, guys. I want to keep it kind of even. So, I think ain't pushing up right. So, alright, the best way to do anything, meatloaf, seasoning your pork chops, your wings, your chicken, anything, is to get your hands in there. It's a little disgusting. But it's the best way to make sure each and every piece, actually I'm going to take my rings off. It's the best way to make sure that each and every piece of your meat is actually coated and coated evenly, because you don't want one piece to taste awesome and the next piece tastes like just some plain pork. So get your hands in your bowl, put it in there, make sure you just roll it around. Get it in, you can feel it. Because the ones on the top had all the seasoning on there. So what you want to do is make sure you get all the way to the bottom, because I just grabbed the first bowl I saw. And this also, to me, if you keep it closer like this, so let's just sit there and marinate a little bit while this bacon is frying for me. Alright. Any meat, chicken while being the most disgusting, any meat, wash your hands. Most of the dishwashing liquids now are hand soaps as well. So wash your hands once you do that. Because you can take your tongs and put your meat in your skillet. You don't have to touch the meat again. Alright. So, now, while that's frying, we're going to get to these. Now, you want to read the directions. Rice is one of those strange things. Rice is either not done enough, just right. It's like the extremes. It's either raw or mushy. So the best way to do that is to use the least amount of water possible and add water as you go along, because rice absorbs your water. That's why you put your phone in rice and you drop it in water, because it'll absorb all the water out the electronics. It's the same thing when you're eating. If you look at this and it says each one of these get 2 cups, I don't use 2 cups. I only use 3. And then if I need to add water as I'm cooking, I add water as I'm cooking. I don't put them straight in there, because what happens is that while it's cooking, the heat and the water is cooking it and it gets mushy. So just pay attention. Next, you do not have to use the exact same packet. I'm feeding 5 people, so I need 2 packets. So what I did was get the chicken and broccoli flavor and the broccoli and cheddar flavor. There you go. You're making your own little taste sensation going on there. So, okay. That's how you do that. So I'm shaking this. My bacon is still frying. Still getting some sizzling goodness going on over here with the bacon. 4 little pieces out in the middle. Get it to the side. If you can smell it, if you got bacon that is not smelling up your kitchen, it's not good bacon. Always have some things you can eyeball. You really can. It's the way the world is. The only thing that is 100% measured is bacon. If you try to do bacon the way you want to, you'll come out with a flat cake, some hard cornbread. Don't do it. Baking is measuring. Cooking, however, is not. But if you need a cup, don't try to eyeball a cup. Get you a cup out of your cabinet. You can get a cup like this, one of these nesting cups. I got $4. So I need 3 cups of water. I'm gonna put 3 cups of water in my pan over here. I'm gonna get that to boiling. Hold on. All right. So got the water in the pan. Now, when you're boiling water, boil the water. Put it on high. Get it to a rolling boil. That means the water is heated up all the way through. Don't get it to a little simmer. That's not a rolling boil. Get your water to a rolling boil. Then you put your food in it. Then you can turn it all the way down. That way, the heat from the boil will cook, but you won't have all that extra added heat from the stove. You want to not overcook all of your food just because, you know, that's the way they used to do it. You don't like to overcook. Meat does not have to be black on the outside. Because if it is, it's extra super crispy on the inside. Alright, so I'm going to turn this skillet down a little bit. I'm going to move this bacon over to where I'm going to fry my spinach. Alright, so I'm going to take a little margarine just to beef it up because I am going to be sauteing this, and you do want some kind of fat in there when you're sauteing meat. You don't want to just put it. Now there are times when you want to put naked meat on there. This ain't one of them. Alright, so let me grab the spoon. That's why I turned that on. Smoke getting ready to come out. But that's alright. Some good smoke. Alright guys, so pork chops over there. You want to hear that sizzle when you put meat into a pan. You do not want to put meat into a pan that does not make that sound. That means that your meat is not getting a good sear on it. That means that your meat is not getting a good sear on the outside. It means it's not sealing in the juices. So you want to hear that sizzle. You want that sizzle. Now, while that's sizzling on that side, I'm going to let that cook on that side. Now, this is for the spinach. I use real butter and margarine. People say butter is margarine, same thing. It's not. Butter. Real butter. Margarine. 2 different things. Butter is creamy. It has actual fats and cream. This has non-hydrogenated fats. It's a little different. I use parquet because it does have a tendency to be a little creamier than other margarines. I like it for some things, but when I'm cooking spinach, I like to have real butter. So I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup, which is about 2 or 3 taps of this butter. So that is going to cook with the bacon. Also, let me tell you a little trick. Some vegetables have a tendency to have a little bitterness to them. If they do, get the little sweet red peppers, or the little sweet peppers, even a green pepper. Cut it up. Cut it up big because everybody may not like the taste of the pepper itself, but they'll love the flavor that it imparts onto your vegetables. So that's another trick. So you can see this meat as it's cooking. See how it's getting white on the outside? Flip it. You see that? You want it to look, it's not burnt. That one's a little light skin. But that's what you want. And just leave them. It's going to take about 3 skillets of meat. And after that, I'm going to make a little sauce for you. Because you should have sauce, especially when you have rice and things like that. So I'm going to cut these peppers. I'm just going to slice them thin. I'm going to drop them in there so that they can get some flavor into it. You don't have to take the seeds out of peppers. Peppers that are not hot, you don't have to take the seeds out of them if you don't want to. The peppers, the seeds have flavor. So when you get cayenne pepper and the red pepper flakes, those are actually the seeds and the pepper. So you don't have to take the flavor, the seeds out of your peppers if you don't want to. I take them out of the green bell peppers, but the small baby peppers like this, I'll leave them in. So I'm just going to have those cooked there. I'm going to let that butter cook down. I'm going to let that bacon cook a little bit. And then I'm just going to put my spinach on the top. And it's going to get hit with the same stuff. It's going to get hit with the garlic, onion, seasoning salt, a little pepper, a little salt. That's going to be it. Alright, so my water's trying to boil over here. So, a lot of cooking is waiting. Sadly, that's what it is. So as we're waiting, I'm going to put up the stuff I don't need. I'm going to put my bacon back in the refrigerator. I'm going to wipe this counter off. The things I don't need, I'm going to put up. The things I do need, I'm going to pull down. So, these are the things I need. I'm going to pull down for my spinach. And, a little trick for you guys. A lot of people don't like cooking with pork. I'm going to show you something. A lot of people don't like cooking with actual pork products. That's cool. I'm a pork girl. Everybody don't have to be. Excuse me, guys. I'm running out of picture. Everything is not for everybody. But Goya has these little packets. See that? Goya has them. Goya has chicken. Goya has ham. If I'm cooking vegetables and I want like a ham hock flavor or that flavor of that smoky, meaty, hammy flavor, I grab one of these packets. It's low sodium. I put it in there. It's the smoky flavor of the ham in there without the actual ham. So, alright, that's melting. This is coming up to a boil. See that smoke? It should be super smoky over there when you put your rice packets in. Every kitchen should have a pair of scissors, because some of these packets, although it looks like they tear easily, they don't. And you sitting up there being a stab yourself with a knife trying to open a packet when all you needed was some scissors. You should have some scissors in your kitchen. So, in the water those go. I'm gonna let that simmer on a boil for a minute. And once I've added my margarine to it, nice big clump. If I'm not using butter, I use a little more margarine. Like I said, I found that Parquet is the best, most creamy margarine that I have found. So, take your meat, see what's going on with it. Make sure it's not burning. Make sure it's not getting too big of a sear. If you want to flip it again, you can flip it again. You know. Just check your meat. Make sure your meat out. Alright. Alright, I let that boil down to one good boil. Now I'm going to turn this down to low as it can go. And I'm going to put the top on it. That's what I'm going to do. Rice will cook that way. Beautiful rice will cook on the lowest heat with the right amount of moisture. It will be flaky. It will be, you'll love it. Try it my way. What you got to lose? Alright, so I'm still letting my bacon cook in this butter a little bit. Letting these peppers cook around a little bit. Letting this get situated. Letting some flavor build up in this pot a little bit. That's cooking. The rice is on. It's getting ready to drop down. Soon the spinach will be on. And guess what? Your dinner is almost ready. Now it's all about waiting till the end. So, once I get the spinach in there, guys, I'm going to take a little break. And then we do that, and I'm going to show you what we cooked. Hey, we're back. So we're getting into the final stretch. We're getting into the home stretch. Food is getting ready to be delivered to the people. Now see, look at that. Frozen. You can see a little bit. If you don't like that, take it out. But it gives it such a great flavor. Look at that. So we're just going to put the top back on that. And I'm going to turn that off. Alright, turn that all the way off. Alright, look at this rice. Look at this rice. Hold on. Let me get another spoon. See how it's separate when you do it? Look at it. That's how rice is supposed to be. See it? There you go. That heat is off. We're just going to let that top go back on there. And these are the last of the pork chops. These are bigger, thicker ones, so they have a better sear on them. But they should look like that. That's not burnt, that's flavor. So, you see all this? You see all this goodness right here? You see all of that goodness right there? That's some flavor. And we're about to make a sauce. Now, we don't drink like that. So, we have, are you going to come up, somebody? Cameraman stuck on one place. Come up here, baby. Up, 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 up. What? I mean me. I'm talking to them. Alright, so we got one of these little bottles of wine. Prosecco Peak Moscato we got from somebody. Alright, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to open it first. But you can use any kind of wine with lighter meats like chicken and pork. You want to use a lighter wine. A Chardonnay. Anything you got in the house. If you got red wine, you can use it. But it's a little heavy for white meat. For lighter meats like pork and chicken. So, yes. We're going to use that. We're going to cook that alcohol off. But while it's cooking, it's pulling all that good pork goodness, that good pork flavor up off the bottom there. So, excuse me. So, you come on back around, baby. So, I'm going to take a scoop of this. You can smell it. What you want to do is when you're cooking with alcohol, you want to cook the alcohol off. Because if not, it'll taste like you're eating raw alcohol. And I don't care if you like wine. You don't want to eat it. Alright. So, I'm going to give y'all another tip. Pork is one of those meats that are good with a sweeter sauce. Like applesauce. You see pork chops and applesauce sometimes. It's good with a sweeter sauce. So while this is cooking down, you can use apricot. I have peach preserves. You're going to want to take a spoonful, just a spoonful, because it's going to give it that little fruitiness. It's going to give it a little fruitiness. It's going to give it a little sweetness. It's going to balance out that tartness of that wine. It's going to melt in there. It's going to be awesome. So, a little smoked paprika. We don't want to put a lot of salt in there. A little smoked paprika. I would normally use, if you have it, I don't use a lot of raw onions. Raw onions have a tendency to make your food spoil a little quicker than normal. Plus, if you're prone to heartburn, it can give you heartburn. So if you're getting a lot of heartburn and don't know why, you may be eating too many raw onions. So I don't cook with a lot of onions, but I do use onion powder and garlic powder because you want to season your sauce. Even though it has the seasoning coming from the meat, you still want to season. It's layer. It's flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor. A little pepper. And back to my secret. I told you about my secret. The Goya secret. Look there. Now, they have chicken, they have beef, and they have pork. They also have one for vegetables, too. So, we're making this sauce, and it's for pork. So, what we're going to want to do is, wrong spoon. What we're going to want to do is get a pork flavor in there. on top of the flavor that's coming off the bottom, on top of the stuff that's going in there. You want to reinforce the flavor. You want to make it so that every bite is delicious. So this is cooking, this is cooking, this is cooking. If you see like it's over reducing, because sometimes things over reduce and it becomes a little too sweet or a little too anything, add water to it. That's really all you need to do. Because you got the flavor working. That's why you work the flavor in the food. So that if it gets a little too much, a little too thin, if it's a little too anything, add a little water to it. So I always have, you should always have a whisk. Always have a whisk in your house. Because I hate lumpy sauces that don't have to be lumpy. Oh, speaking of that, if you want your sauce to be a little creamy, add milk. Don't use 1% or fat-free milk. There's not enough milk fat in it for it to use anything, for it to do anything other than turn your sauce lighter. But if you have 2% milk or whole milk, add a little milk to it. It'll give it a little cream and it'll break up that sweet. It's just, like I said, different layers of flavor. So we're going to let that cook a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you what it looks like with the whipped milk in there, because y'all know what it looks like with water in it. Not a lot. But it should look like that when it goes into your sauce. If it looks like anything other than that, you don't have enough milk fat. So, don't use anything less than 2% milk. Alright. So, the preserves are broken down. The sauce is now, it needs to just cook for a few minutes. You know, in the South, we always use a roux, which is the butter and flour thing. You don't need it for this because you have so many sweets and you have so many different things. As you cook it down, it will cook down. It will tighten up a little bit. So you don't have to worry about it. And taste your food. If the Food Network didn't teach me anything, it taught me to taste it. I always check it to make sure it's not too salty, not too sweet, not too anything. Because you can always add. You can't take it out. And you don't want to spend your time trying to figure out why nobody's eating because everything is too salty or too sweet. It's your house. Use your spoon. Taste the sauce. Good. It's good sauce. It's not too sweet. It's not salty at all. Saw a couple things I want to wipe off. It's not too sweet. It's not too salty at all. Matter of fact, you can put a couple of pork chops back in there and let them cook down too if you want to. So right now, everything is done. I'm just waiting on this sauce to cook. This is what it looks like when you cook at home. This is what it looks like. This is a full dinner with 3 pots. Normally I could have got away with less than 3 if I hadn't been cooking for y'all. But I want to show you meat, vegetables, starch. You're ready to go. And truthfully, it didn't take me any more than an hour from start to finish. Even talking to y'all. Even stopping for a little while. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for cooking with me. Come back. We'll do it again. Down in the comments, if you got something you want me to cook, let me know. We can experiment together. Like this video. Like it. It's me. Like it. Share this video. Maybe somebody else wants to know. It's easy to make an easy sauce. Everything doesn't have to be a gravy. Sometimes you got some old wine in there, a little bit of peach preserves, some seasonings, and you got a sauce for your meat so it don't have to be dry. Share it. Maybe somebody else needs to know. Hit that notification bell so you can hear it again. So when you hear it, you go, hey, more cooking, or more something. I'm always doing something. Thank you for joining me, Bomb Squad. I love y'all. This your girl, Lisa, and I'm out.
What's up, my Bomb Squad? That's right, I'm back. I had to show y'all this plate made by Lisa. She showed y'all what she was cooking, and I'm about to eat it. Don't that look good? So,
Well, we cooked together. That's what happened. I put the pork chop back in the sauce, let it sit for a little while. You can put the sauce over everything.
Did you? She is circling my food plate.
And now watch.
I don't have.
Watch how tender it ain't. You don't need one.
You know me.
You don't need
I'm
no,
a little messy.
You don't need no knife. Look how tender it. Pull it apart. Slow down.
It is. Look. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Look.
Hold on. Here you go. Slow motion. Slow motion. In the mouth.
Mmm. Y'all, this is good. This is
Down
good.
to the rice. We're gonna do a slow motion. Nope, she did that real fast. I couldn't even follow.
Hold on.
Dun, 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 dun. Last but not least, the veggies. Still gotta put a little sauce on the veggies too. Tie the whole meal together. And bam!
This is so bomb.
Alright guys, check this out.
I'm about
I don't
to
know
go
what
eat.
I'm touching. She's gonna eat.
So I'm gonna holler at y'all.
I'm trying to turn the camera around because y'all know I am not the cameraman. Again. Y'all come cook with me again. Thank y'all for joining me. That's DC Kool-Aid.
And I'm out.